If you have been thinking about moving or visiting Bowmanville, you're going to want to watch this video as I go over the top pros and the top cons of living here or just visiting, and we're getting into it right after this. Hey, what's going on? It's Brad Gates and I'm a local realtor here in the Durham region. This video I'm going to go over the pros and cons of living in Clarington, Bowmanville. So Clarington is the municipality, and then Bowmanville is an area within Clarington. The way it's done on the real estate board is Bowmanville is a neighborhood, but Bowmanville is much more than that. And this video is just going over the pros and cons of living here. I have people reaching out from all over the world that are looking to move here, and I absolutely love it. So if you're looking to move to or from the Bowmanville or Durham region, all you have to do is call, text, email. You can send a carrier pigeon, whatever is easiest for you, and I'm here to make your move and relocation go so much easier. If you have not already, subscribe to the channel. If you are enjoying the videos as I'm putting them out there, please like them. Lets me know people are enjoying what I'm putting out there, but then it also lets YouTube know that people are liking it, and it pushes my videos in front of other people. So again, I would just really appreciate that. So let's just jump right into the video, and we'll start with the pros, get all the good out of the way, because people always want to know the bad, so I'll save that to the end. So hopefully you're watching a little bit more of it, or you're not just skipping to the end. But either way, let's start with the pros. And our first pro, it has to do with Bowmanville being ranked 20th best place in Canada to actually buy a property or a house within Canada. So that's kind of a really good statistic, and I think it has to do with a lot of future growth that they're actually anticipating happening with the GO train being expanded through to Bowmanville. But then you also have all of the builders that are building new homes here, and there's just a ton of new development that's happening. There's a condo that's going to be going up close to the future GO station. So again, just great growth potential. So people who are looking to buy, it is an opportunity for you down the road to hopefully make some money. Who knows what the heck's going on with the housing market? It's up and down, and we went through like a high of high property values back earlier this year. Right now it's kind of softened a little bit, but it's still up higher than what the numbers were in 2021. The second pro has to do with commuting. So it is commutable. So right now you have the 407, which is a toll road. We'll talk about the con of that later, but you do have the 407, which is a good option if you don't like traffic and you don't mind paying for that luxury. You have the 401, which is a free road paid for by their taxes. So you take that at your leisure, but the traffic on that is pretty bad. But again, we'll talk about the cons after. But then you also have a GO train that is coming. So the GO train's coming. So once that happens, you're gonna be able to get to Union Station. I can only guesstimate the time frame that it would take, and I estimated or guesstimated to be about an hour and 20 minutes to hour 30 minutes from Bowmanville to downtown. Hopefully it's sooner or quicker than that, but for now that's kind of like, I can only guesstimate because I've never done that commute. I don't think nobody has yet. But you also have the GO station that is here, so you can take a GO bus and you're able to kind of get around that way. So Bowmanville is a commutable area. It is a little bit further away from Toronto than other parts of Durham, but it is a commutable place, and I feel it's going to get better once that GO train is up and running. Just too bad we don't know when that's going to happen yet. Another pro has to do with the amenities, and they have tons of amenities. So you have good schools, you have shopping, and the shopping in Bowmanville is actually really good, to the point where when Canadian Tire has a sale on stuff, and pretty much that's the only time I buy stuff from Canadian Tire, when it goes on sale, because their sales are really, really good. But the problem is their stuff sells out really quickly. So we're constantly going to Bowmanville Canadian Tire. People who live in Bowmanville, they might not like that, but it allows me to kind of get these products. And so yeah, we've gone there a ton because just the Canadian Tire in Bowmanville is huge. It's a great Canadian Tire, and when stuff goes on sale, it tends to be there a little bit longer than other parts of the Durham region or the Greater Toronto as a whole. You also have the Canadian Tire Motorsports, so if you are into racing cars, you can actually go there, and it's an actual track that you can go to, which is a good option because there's not a ton of those that is actually around. So fact that Clarington and Bowmanville actually has that, it's great. It's really cool to kind of witness that. If you're anywhere close to it, it is going to be super loud because some cars with the exhaust and everything like that, it just lets off a lot of noise. But if you're into racing, you might just love that noise. You have golf courses. So the good thing with Durham region and Clarington and Bowmanville is you have a lot of green space, and within that you do have golf courses that get put up, and they are very nice golf courses. So if you're into golfing, it's a huge bonus for you because you're not going to have to drive too far to get to the golf courses. And there's also several other shops and big box stores that are there. You have a Home Depot, and then you have Walmart. You have like pretty much all of the stores that you would need, you can get within Bowmanville. And if Bowmanville, for instance, doesn't have that, you're about 20 minutes away from Oshawa, which would most likely have that. And then for the off chance that it's something that Durham region doesn't have at all, you are commutable to Toronto without traffic. I'd say it's about an hour drive, so it's not too bad. And then you have pretty much access to anything that you were looking for. Our fourth pro has to do with the many festivals that Bowmanville has. So I guess part of this pro we can build on has to do with the character and charm that you'll notice within Bowmanville. The downtown is very quaint, and it's just very nice. It has tons of character that's there. And they have a lot of festivals that happen. So you have the Maple Fest, which is something that my wife went to when she was working at H&R Block, which was right pretty much downtown Bowmanville. And so she would always bring home, like during the Maple Fest, like the different stuff that they have there, because it's always unique and it's always kind of like homemade type products. And so she brought home like the maple bacon bread and jam, that kind of stuff. Definitely unique, something to check out. You also have Rib Fest, so if you're into ribs, why not go somewhere where all these places are competing to offer the best barbecue? If you don't like ribs, they also have chicken and stuff like that. So having the different festivals that happen is good. I know another popular one has to do with Apple Fest, where it's just, you know, everything based on apple. So if you like apple pie and pretty much anything, apple butter, like anything you can picture with apples, then Apple Festival is definitely something you're going to want to check out as well. And then the biggest one, which I think draws the biggest crowd, has to do with the Festival of Lights that happens. So, and it's on Old Scugog Road, and it's just, you drive there around Christmas time and it is busy. And everybody who's living on Old Scugog Road and then some of the streets off of that, they just really go all out for their Christmas decorations. Unfortunately, when I went last year, I didn't video anything, I just took pictures. So I'm gonna share some pictures of that so you can kind of see how crazy it is there. But it's definitely something to mark in your calendars come December. If you're into Christmas stuff, you're gonna wanna go check that as well. Our next pro has to do with living is affordable. Well, kind of. Just like every part of Canada, we went through this like huge increase in property values and inflation went way up. So everything got really expensive. We're having gas right now for our vehicles, and right now it's sitting at about $1.60 a liter. When I first started doing these YouTube videos, it was at around 80 cents a liter. And about 2 months ago, it was like $2.20 a liter. So that just kind of gives you an idea of the affordability and how much that's changed. House prices was definitely something that January, February, March of this year did get crazy. But when you're gonna go outside of that, Bowmanville is very affordable. And our last pro has to do with the crazy amount of green space. If you look at Bowmanville on the map, you'll just see that you have houses, schools, parks, and then just trees, conservation areas. So it's just tons of green space that if you're into that outdoorsy stuff, then you have lots of areas to go for bike rides or walks or hikes or anything that you could be into. But then you also have Lake Ontario, so you do have a waterfront. There's actually 2 waterfronts in Bowmanville. So there's just tons of green space, outdoor space. So if you're into outdoor stuff, Bowmanville is definitely something that you're gonna wanna check out. If you go on Google Maps and on the settings on your phone, you can actually highlight trail systems, and it shows you all of the trails that are kind of interconnected within Bowmanville. And you do have the waterfront trail as well, which if you like to go for a super long bike ride, jog, walk, whatever you're into, you definitely check that out, because it's one of the best trail systems that personally I feel that there is, because it's just all interconnected and you're kind of walking right along the waterfront. Well, now we're gonna move on to the cons. I got all of the positive stuff out of the way, and something that I pride myself on for these videos is I don't just focus on the good things, I do cover the bad things as well. That way, if somebody is looking to actually move here, they can look at everything that Bowmanville could have to offer, and then you can make a proper decision. And I obviously suggest you coming and visiting Bowmanville as well, so you can get more familiar with the area to see if it speaks to you, because there are certain areas that rank very high in terms of living and everybody loves it. And then I've gone there and personally it just doesn't fit for me. So Bowmanville has tons of good, but now we're gonna hop into the bad. And the first bad, so we'll call it our first con, start off light, and it has to do with no current GO train. So there is one coming, but for all of these years of Bowmanville being around, Bowmanville never had a GO train, and it kind of stopped in Oshawa. So if you were living in Bowmanville, working downtown Toronto, you'd be driving half an hour, 25 minutes to Oshawa. Well, sorry, not that long, about 20 minutes to Oshawa GO station. And then you would have that 50-minute GO train ride, which would just get you downtown. So it's one of those things, there's no current GO train, but there is one coming. We don't know when. Hopefully it's soon, because I know there's a lot of people that are kind of waiting for that. Our next con has to do with the 401 traffic is bad. And it doesn't matter if you're living in Pickering, Ajax, Whitby, Oshawa, Clarington, Bowmanville, Curtis, like wherever you're living, if you have to go on the 401, the traffic is going to be bad. Positive is there's the 407, which is an option. So if you're working for a company that pays your 407, it's not going to be so bad. If you are negotiating your salary, you might want to factor that in to see if that's something that they would cover, because from Bowmanville to maybe the 404 or the 427, wherever you're going, it could be in upwards of $700 a month, depending on how often you're using it and how far you have to go. So that could be definitely a good added bonus. So you do have the 407, the 401 traffic is bad. And pretty much the whole way to Bowmanville, it will be hectic, and there's no guarantee in terms of when that's gonna happen. I've been stuck in rush hour traffic at 2 o'clock in the morning because of road closures or lane closures on the 401. And then I've had it where it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon and the traffic is light. There's no logic behind it, so you can never plan properly. You're always checking on Google Maps or Waze just to see kind of how the traffic is going. Our third con has to do with high car insurance. So Bowmanville on average was about $3,300 per year for car insurance. And you look at Oshawa and it was in the low $2,000 a year. And then you go Whitby, which is the next one, and it was at $3,000. So it is amongst the highest, factoring in that there's not as many drivers and the traffic off of the main 401 isn't so bad. It makes you wonder why the insurance is like that, but that's just one of the cons to mention. Kinetics used to have like a great map that I would pull up here and kind of show you what the prices were depending on all of that. But Kinetics got sold to some other insurance company, and that insurance map that I used, they buried it so far in that I have no idea where it is, and they might have just taken it down altogether. So unfortunately, I don't have that map to show you, but you'll get a range in terms of the insurance companies from what they have to offer. It's always good to use those online tools because they compare all of the main insurance companies that are out there to help get you the best rate. And so unfortunately I don't have the map, but you do have online tools to help get you the best rate that you can possibly get. What is the point of having cons if I cannot talk about the property tax? Being in Durham region, you do have high property tax. When you're in Toronto and you're sitting at about 0.69%, 0.69%, yeah, so not even 1%, that's the tax rate in Toronto. You come to Durham and you're over 1% for sure. So Bowmanville sits at 1.15%. So if you're factoring in a house price of, not house price, sorry, an MPAC assessment, that's how they determine what your property taxes are going to be, of $600,000, and that same home in Toronto at $600,000, property taxes is going to be about half of what they are in Bowmanville if you were going into Toronto, but the house prices are a lot more expensive in Toronto, so it kind of balances out at the end of the day. Now you throw insurance onto it, and now Bowmanville's with the insurance, so lots of things to consider. Do your homework, but the property tax is definitely a con anywhere within the Durham region. Our next con has to do with the Darlington power plant. So it is a pro for jobs. It's definitely good for jobs because there's a lot of good paying jobs there. The bad part about it is the fact that there is a nuclear power plant within Clarington, within Bowmanville, which is within Clarington. I'm gonna get confused on all these videos when I'm talking about Clarington and Bowmanville because I just try not to confuse people. but Bowmanville is within Clarington, and Clarington is within the Durham region. Lots of stuff to consider on that, but there is a power plant. It's good for jobs, but it's bad for the fact that there's an actual power plant. If you look at places like Port Hope, they had a nuclear power plant which got decommissioned, and then now they're having other issues with disposing of that nuclear waste. So even if they decided they were going to shut it down, it would take so long for the nuclear waste to actually sit there before they can transport it, that it wouldn't be within our lifetime, I doubt, unless there's some very young people watching this, that it would actually be moved. And once it gets moved, then you have a whole other ball of problems, which has to do with the transport route. You look at Port Hope, they had a transport route, and then now a lot of the homes that are within that transportation route that they use, they were having problems with keeping the values of those homes because it's such a stigma attached to it. And our final con has to do with the 407, which is a pro, but it's also a con because it is very expensive. So if you are paying for it yourself, you could be looking at $700 a month, which on top of mortgage, on top of car insurance, on top of all these other expenses, it's expensive. And it's unfortunate that it's a con, and it's even more unfortunate that it was something that we paid for with our taxes when they built it, and then we started getting charged to use it, and then Canada sold it to a private company, which I believe was out of Spain, and for such a low price that it's just very unfortunate that it's very expensive, because it's something that we already kind of paid for, and now we have to pay to actually use it. Well, that was the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to like it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. If you forgot at the beginning, please subscribe to the channel. Lets me know people are enjoying what I'm putting out there, and that's kind of what's really important to me, is just these videos going in front of people that are getting value out of it. I just kind of went over the pros and cons within Bowmanville. There's a lot more for you to consider if you are looking to move here. I have families from all over the world that are doing this, that are actually moving here, and I love it. So if you're looking to move to or from the Clarington, Bowmanville, Durham region, all you have to do is call, text, email. You can send the carrier pigeon, whatever is easiest for you, and I'm here to make your move and relocation just go so much smoother. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the other videos on my channel, and until next time.